Hi, this is Elle, and this is my July wrap-up. So I read 8 books in the month of July, and I am quite happy with that, considering that one of them was a beast and stuff, and also the fact that I've been out traveling with friends and therefore not having had as much time for reading. So yeah, without further ado, let's go on to the books. So the first book that I read was Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This was on my summer TBR, and I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe 3.5, I think 3 stars. Was because I just didn't like this as much as Pride and Prejudice. I feel like it was a bit slower. I'm not sure why, if it's just kind of my imagination or anything, but it felt slower and stuff. And also you had to sit through the conversations with the annoying characters. Like a lot in Pride and Prejudice, when there were annoying characters, they were like, oh, Mr. Collins was annoying the entire dinner. Elizabeth was really annoyed. But in this book, you have to sit through and read the entire conversations with these stupid people, and it's so annoying. And like, that's the point, I get it, but I could have managed without that. The next book I read was Sparks by James DeSantis. I got sent a review copy for this and wrote a review on Goodreads, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it below. So this is a superhero book. The main character, Ethan Hamill, he's kind of at a bad point in his life. He doesn't know what he wants to do or anything. His girlfriend just left him, and he just found out he had cancer. And then he got hit by lightning and got magical powers and stuff. So, yeah, kind of a lot of things happening in his life and stuff. But anyway, it's about him trying to find out what to do this last time in his life and wanting to do something meaningful using his powers to become a hero and stuff. So I had a little bit of trouble getting into the writing style at first. First like 30 pages or so were kind of slow. Oh, by the way, this book is really short. It was about, those 30 pages, they were about like a fourth or a fifth of the book. It was super short. A really quick read. But as I said, the first pages were slow, but it kind of picked up that later on. And also I found that the characters were pretty empathetic and things. Also a nice touch to the book was that in between chapters you had interviews. So it was the main character's best friend who went out and interviewed people about this new superhero, Sparks. And that was very fun to read because, like, not all of these interviewed people were positive. There were a lot of differences between them, and you could really feel the difference in the voices. And that was great. That was a really nice touch. I think I ended up awarding it 4 stars. Maybe 4.5. I think 4. Yeah, 4. For 4 stars for Sparks by James DeSantis. If you like superhero books, I recommend it. As I said, it's really fast read. It took me like 2 hours or something. So, yeah. The next book that I read was Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This is the 3rd and final book in the Grisha trilogy. And can we just appreciate this cover? This is definitely my favorite cover of this series. It's beautiful. I gave this book 4 stars. The other books in the series I gave 5, but it was partly because I felt like the pacing in this book was a little bit uneven. That might just be something that I imagined because I didn't get to like read it in one whole sitting. I mostly got to read like 10 pages, 20 pages, 15 pages, and then like some larger chunks of like 100 pages. So it took some time for me to read this because I read it while I was in Amsterdam with my friends and therefore didn't get much reading time. Yeah, I can't tell you that much about a plot, obviously, because it's the 3rd book in a series, but this is fantasy and it's set in a country that resembles Russia in many ways. And yeah, in this country they have so-called Grisha, which are people with magical abilities, and the main character discovers that she is a sun summoner, which means that she can summon light, and there is no other sun summoner. And yeah, I can't tell you much more because, you know, plot twists and spoilers, and these books are really good. They are really good. I really suggest that you read them, especially if you like fantasy. You will love this. Oh, and overall it was just, I thought it was a great ending. It was one little detail in the very ending that I was not a big fan of, but yeah, obviously I can't talk about that. So the next book that I read was The Giver by Lewis Lowry. This was not a book that I had planned on reading, but one of my friends whom I went with to Amsterdam, she read it while we were there and really loved it, so she was like, "Oh, you gotta read this." And I did, because it's really short. Like, my copy was 180 pages, so it was a really quick read. And I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was really good. It was really good. So if I would say the overall story would be that we have this community in the future where everything is decided by the government, you know, the regular stuff. And when you become 12, they choose your future profession for you. And the main character, he is selected for the profession of receiver, meaning that he will get all these memories from the past that the community doesn't want. So these are like memories of war, memories of love, memories of just free will and choice and things, and it was really good. There's a movie coming up also quite soon, but I don't know. From the trailer, I'm not very excited, but yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. So 5 stars for that book, in case I didn't mention it earlier. I think I did, but I'm gonna say it anyway, so yeah, 5 stars. And then we have this huge thingamabob, which is A Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin, the 4th book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. And this I read mostly when I was at the Canary Islands with my boyfriend. So yeah, you know, being at the beach, you get a lot of time for reading. So I managed to read pretty much the entirety of this book in a week, which I'm pretty proud of because I've never read one of these books that quickly. But yeah, I gave this 5 stars. I really like this one. There are some different opinions about it because there are only half of the characters in this book, and then the other half are like in the next book, A Dance with Dragons. So yeah, some people think that this just made it slow and stuff. For me, I just feel like it became more condensed and I got more drawn in. Especially with the Cersei chapters, they were really good. It was really fun to read from her perspective. I like this series so much. Now I only have 1 book left until I'm caught up. And then I'll have to wait with the rest of the people. And I don't want to wait. I don't want to. So quite soon after I finished that, I came home. And then I decided to dig into this book, In the Hand of the Goddess by Tamora Pierce, the 2nd book in the Song of the Lioness Quartet. I read the 1st book like a few weeks before I left, and I got this and the other 2 books in the series just like 2 days before I was going away, and I was just like, no, I want to marathon them, so I'm gonna do that when I get home because I'm not sure if I will have time to do it now. So I got onto that as soon as I got home, and oh, this series is so good. I really like this series. It's so good. Yeah. You can just expect the Tamora Pierce haul because it will come, and it will come soon because she's written a lot of books and I want to read them all. Yeah, anyway, the second book in the series, this is about a girl named Alana who wants to become a knight. So she dresses up as a boy and goes to the palace under the name of Alan. And yeah, and happenings ensue that have to do with magic and evil sorcerers and stuff. And yeah, I gave this book 4 stars and not 5. All the other books I ended up giving 5, but for some reason this didn't connect with me as much as the other ones. I'm not sure why. I think it was just because I had a little problem with the writing in like the first chapter. It felt very middle grade-y somehow. Just the first chapter, not the other ones, but just the first felt like very middle grade-y in a way. So I think that's kind of what brought it down a bit. But yeah, I'm still recommending this series a lot because I really love it a lot. So as you can guess, the next book that I read was The Woman Who Writes Like a Man, the 3rd book in the series. This book especially, I think this is my favorite in the trilogy. No, I think this is my favorite in the quartet. Yeah, because it deals a lot with like cultural clashes and about it deals a lot with sexism and stuff like that, and I thought it was really interesting. But I don't know what happened with this cover. Who are these people? Who are these? Because I mean, like, the only 2 male characters who really like have a big part in the story, they are like Jonathan and George, and both of these people are too young to be George. And like the big thing about Jonathan, like the thing that they say all the time are like blue eyes. Blue eyes. Jonathan has blue eyes. Remember about those blue eyes. But these people, they do not have blue eyes. I don't have, why are they here? Yeah, those were all the books that I read in July. I finished the 4th book in the Song of the Lioness Quartet, the 1st of August. So I'm not gonna include it here, but yeah, I read it, just so you know. Yeah, so those were the books. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! This book is about Amsterdam. She read it while we were about it, but I don't really know if I can. Like, yeah, we have I'm not used to this anymore. I'm sad.